The voters of the Peru School District have a unique opportunity this December to create a new beginning, a new era in education. For many years, Peru was recognized as the North Country's premier school district. Now, following the turbulence of the Plattsburgh Air Force Base closure and the natural aging of its infrastructure, Peru faces serious challenges in maintaining its tradition of the highest standards. This bond issue is designed to renovate, upgrade, and update, to address the multiple safety, access, technology, and social issues that affect the students and taxpayers of Peru.
I've been a board member for about 2.5 years now, and over that time I've become familiar with the buildings and the condition of the buildings. And I really believe that the quality of the education that our children are receiving right now is being compromised by the conditions in the school. And I think that's the reason that the board at this time has decided to pursue the proposal for a building project.
What the bond issue is going to cover, how is it going to benefit the students, since this is what it's really all about.
Number one is the structural repairs that need to be made in the buildings, and it's not just the high school, but it's all buildings is number one. Number two is the accessibility for the handicap. Another area is the health of the students and faculty, staff. In all the buildings, we have absolutely no exchange of fresh air coming into these buildings, which was a result of the oil crisis back in the 70s.
As a part of the redesign and consolidation, Northside Elementary School, located on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base, will be closed, and these modular classrooms will be removed. These two actions will significantly cut energy costs, leading to a far more efficient use of resources.
Well, the technology part of this particular bond issue is, I would say, is essential. But for that to go, we have to have the infrastructure also, because without the new wiring upgrades, without the access and the new cabling and all of that stuff that's going to be put in with the infrastructure part, the technology, if we bought new machines without the infrastructure, they'd be sitting in boxes because we would have nowhere to connect them.
Okay, why do you need a new middle school if you've already got a junior high school?
We have been sharing facilities, grades 7 through 12, all of these years. We share a cafeteria, we share a gymnasium, we share locker rooms, we share a library, we share classrooms, we share hallways. This year there are 1,103 students in this building. It's time for us to take a look at separating our programs to make our students better citizens, to fulfill the New York State standards, and to take a look at how we can change our programs to meet their needs.
What we've been looking at as a team is looking toward the vision of education in Peru in the future. One of the things that we were looking at is middle-level education for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and the other thing that we've been very interested in doing is bringing all our elementary students on campus to have a community school back in Peru.
I've heard from so many parents that the transition from 6th grade over to the high school is really huge and has an impact on the students. You have an opportunity in middle school to really provide a nurturing environment for those students and to separate them from the rest of the grades, from the older kids. I think that's good for the older kids, and it's certainly good for the 7th through 9th graders.
It would be a good idea to separate them as far as I'm concerned. There's quite an age difference there, and 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are still a little young to be with 18, 19-year-olds.
This is an opportunity with the state incentive to be able to make those improvements and improve upon the quality of the school. As it stands right now, and when they come to 7th grade, they go right in with 18-year-olds and possibly older. Children at that age have different issues. I'd like to see them with separate programs. If this doesn't go ahead, I'm afraid that the money that will be spent to upgrade the buildings will be taken away from programs.
Well, it's like one's own house or even the human body. There are so many things that the doctor or you can do to your own house or to your own body in keeping it up. And there are times when it needs outside intervention, and we're at that point. The schools are kept clean, safe, but things change over 30 years. And I think it's time to do some surgery rather than take medicine in small doses.
We've never had any sort of a renovation or upgrade program throughout the school district in any of the schools. Actually, what we've got here is a settling problem that has been looked at the initial point. The two lower blocks that you can see that are patched had literally fallen out of the wall, which my maintenance men then went ahead and reinstalled the blocks, and we kind of mortared them back in. It's been looked at by the architects, and we do have a major settling problem here. Actually, on the east end doors at the junior high wing and the senior high wing, snow actually does blow in and accumulates at the base of the doors inside the building. To be quite frank, when you walk into the locker rooms, the stench is quite awakening. So we also plan on bringing some fresh air into there.
The property values of our area are really directly linked to the quality of the school. More and more, it seems like people and families that are moving into the area are looking at the quality of schools as a determining factor when they make their choice. And I think that the ability to attract families and to keep the ones here that are presently living in Peru is directly linked to the project that we're talking about here.
I find that prospective buyers come and interview all the different school districts and check out the facilities and make sure that their children are going to get the modern facility that they need and technology that they need in education.
We have students that are going to work in areas where a computer knowledge, even in the working world, is essential, and the kids don't have that knowledge. And those are the ones that we need to really focus in on, is to make sure that every student that graduates from Peru has the knowledge of computers and technology that would benefit them, whether they're in college, whether they're at work. And we're also hoping that we can open it up to the parents, so that those parents that are in the same boat can also come in for adult education classes when we have the equipment that would make it good for them to do that too.
They're still working with like very old Apples, and you can barely see the screens on them. The Macs are excellent, and they have internet access on some of them, and so if you're working with those, you're fine, but the other ones aren't useful for anything.
Judging from some of the reports that we've gotten back from some of our college freshmen, when they go into college, most of the time they are okay on the word processing part or something on that order in a majority of cases. But it is the extra things, the CAD programs that they're required to do, or the databases, or the spreadsheets, or those kinds of things, where they have not had the experience that is necessary. And they also are, in most cases, having to learn new programs, because we've had Macintoshes in our high school up until this time. And the main computers that are used in college these days are IBMs or IBM compatibles.
I'm going to college, and I'll probably be behind them a little bit because I haven't learned what they've learned already. I just have to learn it on my own. Nobody's going to really teach it to me.
Even if they're the brightest kids, they have a lot of catching up to do, and so maybe if we could update some of the curriculum or the school, they would have an easier time of it.
This is a real opportune time for doing this. We have some new tax laws in New York State that will relieve the taxpayers of a good share of their school taxes, and that's the STAR program. In addition to that, for 1 year only, the governor has signed into law legislation that will allow the school district an additional 10% state aid with a cap of 95%. So we have been at 88, and we will go to 95%, which means that taxpayers, out of every dollar that we spend, will only end up paying a nickel out of the local tax share.
I was just wondering how the bond issue was going to affect my taxes as a homeowner.
A home valued at $80,000 would see a total tax increase of $31 a year. That's $2.58 a month. Weekly, that adds up to 60 cents, or just 8 cents a day.
I believe in education, and I think probably the majority of people in the town do, and particularly with the new STAR program, which helps the senior citizens with their taxes, maybe it makes it even more desirable. The 95% reimbursement is a very good reimbursement.
We've got to put and reinvest some more money back into these buildings to keep them up, to make sure that they're still going to provide for us, our kids, our grandkids, for another 50 years.
Major structural renovations and a redesigned campus. A technology update incorporating innovative leasing programs designed to keep up with software and hardware advances. A newly designed community campus with a middle school, designed to ease the transition of students from intermediate to high school. These changes will position Peru to continue its proud tradition as a leader in public education and will provide the essential tools and atmosphere for the student of the 21st century.
We have to maintain what we have and upgrade in order to be equally as modernized. It's very important to have a healthy, safe atmosphere for our children. We definitely don't want to shortchange our kids in their future.
We still have the best teachers and staff in the entire area, and obviously, I believe we have the best students. I think some of our facilities are preventing us from providing some of the opportunities that we need to. I know that much of our equipment is outdated and needs to be updated, but they're still the best.